Like Jeff said, it's a great transition in. Now you have more opportunity because even on refinances, even on home equity loans, they're lowering the standards or the guidelines so that other individuals who may not have the best credit are allowed to get them into the game so that they can start transacting as well. Basically, all it is we need the economy to keep moving. The more people we let in, the more transactions happen, the more money moves still, and that will help us along the way until we get back to where we were with the lower interest rates.
Excellent answer. Chuck, thank you very much for coming on the show once again. You're always illuminating, and I always appreciate the interest.
Jeff, thank you so much for having me, man.
No problem. That's Charles Giscombe for United Security Financial. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry, and we'll see you next time.
You're listening to The Mortgage Voice with Jeff Barton. For more on today's topic, visit www.malibufunding.net.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
NBC News Radio, I'm Tammy Trujillo. The National Weather Service says the massive heat dome broiling the desert Southwest will now move eastward. Scott Carr has more.
Forecasters say the heat will expand across the central part of the country during this final week of July, putting millions more into dangerously hot conditions. Forecasters at the National Weather Service don't expect it to lead to widespread record highs.
It's time for the Credit Show with Harry Jacobs.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month for news, weather, and emergency information. A new bill in Congress would make sure AM radio remains in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Indy's Demolition in Huntington Park encourages listeners to shop small business and buy local. Buying from small businesses improves the health of our local economy and our nation. Jobs are created, homes enjoy stability, and local businesses support one another. So, before visiting the mega chains and internet super warehouses, think local and invest in your hometown. That important community reminder is from Indy's Demolition. Call 323-835-6710 for Indy's Demolition in Huntington Park. Master Builders of America in Santa Ana encourages listeners to shop small business and buy local. Buying from small businesses greatly improves the health of our local economy. It creates jobs and allows hometown businesses to grow and invest in each other. So, before visiting the big box stores, mega chains, and internet super warehouses, think local and support your neighbors and your community. That's from Master Builders of America in Santa Ana. They are reminding everyone your hand is the heart of our community.
I'm Listening reminds you that talk saves lives, and 988 makes it even easier to reach out and talk. 911 for emergency services, 988 for mental health needs. 988 connects you with trained counselors in over 200 crisis centers nationwide. Find out more at imlistening.org.
Welcome to the Real Men of Real Estate. I am your host, Dylan Bruno, and we are live on KCAA Radio, Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, covering over 5 million households here in the greater Los Angeles area. KCAA is also affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are available in all of your podcasts, and you can watch our previous shows on demand in Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android app, under Building Solid Foundations. My name is Dylan Bruno, and I'm going to tell you right now, guys, you're probably wondering who am I? Well, I'm just a guy that likes tools, and I want you to like tools just as much as me. I've been in the trades for over 20 years, from trucking to installing solar panels to welding, and I always had a passion for DIY and home improvement, okay? So I'd say about 7 years ago, I I created a company called Caliber 8, and it's dedicated to providing you or giving you the tools you need to do your DIY projects, home improvement projects with ease. I also have educational materials online and a couple of platforms out there, mainly YouTube. And yeah, so that's what I do. I want you guys to get handy, and that's what I'm all about. But today, guys, that's enough of me right now. Today, we have a special guest, commercial realtor Ben Eubanks, to give us the scoop on what's going on in the industry. And I'm going to hand it over to Ben. How you doing, Ben?
Doing well this morning. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm good. Glad to have you.
And so on our way here from Los Angeles, it took about an hour and a half to get here. We were discussing numerous things about our families, about our past, about how we got to where we are now. And the discussion was going to center around real estate. I'm a commercial practitioner, but the real big topic in real estate today, and we discussed it, is probably involving most people, whether they're in the market to buy or sell, is the end of the 6% commission structure. There was a recent settlement, it's actually still ongoing, between the National Association of Realtors, which is a 1 million-member organization. They have reached a settlement in a private lawsuit, which would require the National Association of Realtors to pay a settlement amount of $418 million over the course of the next 4 years. This was in an attempt to address the situation about the industry has not been very forthright in disclosing the fact that in all real estate transactions, the selling party was being told that the commission for them to sell their property was 6%, which is true. However, it's negotiable, and it has always been negotiable. And apparently, that fact of that negotiability has not been conveyed to the selling party to the extent that people were not sure about whether they were able to negotiate that 6% or not. So what happened as a result is that along the line of the listing agent, when the buyer's agent comes along, he's told that out of that 6%, he would earn 2.5%, 3%, whatever it is. If you start off with a 6% figure, the buyer's agent who brings the buyer, if the listing agent does not bring the buyer, there's another agent who is not a part of the listing agreement. He brings the buyer. That 6% would have to be divided between the listing agent and the buyer's agent. Is that clear so far?
Yeah, that is clear so far. So I assume that's causing a lot of instability in the industry in terms of people not knowing exactly what's going on and how this will pan out.
And so what happened as a result of private parties taking both brokerages and the National Association of Realtors to court, they were able to prove that people were being misled or not being aware of the negotiability of that 6%, which starts the whole conversation, because later on down the road, if you have a buyer's agent, they're still going to want a part of that 6%. If that 6% is negotiable now and it's now 5%, and the parties know that, then they have a better opportunity to go negotiate that along with the purchase price and the other terms, the other conditions. But that's one of the starting, it's probably the starting figure that the parties are involved in is what is that commission.
So now that the veil has been lifted, it's, I guess the negotiating parties have a more clear road or path to go down. It's more transparency in the process. Is that what I'm getting from you?
That's the word. And also it's more awareness. And if the public is aware that this 6% is negotiable, it's going to make for more competition among the agents. So it's a good thing I think it's a good thing in the long run for everyone, even though, according to the National Association of Realtors, 60,000 real estate practitioners, licensees, have gone out of the business, have left the business since the beginning of 2023. 60,000 have left the business. Now, that's not to say that there's a shortage of real estate agents, because there's not. There's actually a proliferation of agents. In California, for example, there are 202,000 plus real estate licensees. So there's no shortage of agents. However, you have about 20% of those agents that are actually doing 80% of the work. And the other 80% of the agents are left to scrounge around and and struggle to get that 20% of the work. So most of the work is done by a small percentage of realtors.
Wow, it reminds me of that rule they call the Pareto rule, the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
I guess it applies across the board. So what does the future look like for that 80% scrounging for deals?
It looks good because you're going to have some people leaving the industry that shouldn't have been in the industry anyway. These are the people who weren't doing transactions anyway. They might have at the most done one transaction a year, if that. There are much less transactions available compared to the amount of practitioners that there are. So I think it would be better. I think that this will weed out the non-competitive, the less than elite agents. I think it's going to be better for the public. I think it's going to be better for the real estate industry, the practitioners, and I think it's going to be better for the economy because, as we know, the affordability of housing all over the country is an issue now, especially in California, high property cost areas. Beverly Hills has a affordability, some legislation calling for affordable housing in Beverly Hills, because I guess of the nannies, the people that service the mansion, the people that own the mansions and the estates, they need help, and they can have their employees, their landscapers, their gardeners, their nannies. They can come from wherever they come from, or they can live closer to the area, which is, I think, helpful to the community to have people in the community from different income levels. It's better.
So it levels the playing field in a sense.
In a social sense, yes.
In a social sense, okay. And it's funny how that works across the board in life in general. How, I mentioned the Pareto rule, the 20%, 80%. How that, if you want to call it a law of the universe, I don't want to get too metaphysical on you guys, but how it purges or like you said, weeds out the non-productive elements out of the system to make it more efficient. So that's what to me, that's what I'm hearing. As someone who is not as well versed in real estate as you, that's what I'm getting from it. So that's great. All right. So we talked about something that before we came on today that piqued my interest, and it's a deal, or at least you had a hand in it that you were participated in some years ago. It's called the Oceanwide Plaza deal or property. Tell us more about that, Ben.
Okay, so the Oceanwide Plaza, I'm sure that our listeners have heard of this on the news, or they've seen it on the news. They might not recognize the name Oceanwide Plaza, but they have seen this property on the news. It is a property that consists of two 26-floor skyscrapers and one 30-foot residential skyscraper right directly across the street from the Crypto Center, downtown Los Angeles. This is the building that the base jumpers have been jumping off of. It's the building that is covered from the bottom to the top with graffiti.
Wow, I've seen that, yeah.
It's visible from all over. It's a eyesore, and because it's in such a prominent location, it's an eyesore. It's an image problem for the city of LA. The politicians have not figured out a way to reconcile this property. It's been sitting dormant for about 5 years. In that 5 years, the elements because the property has not been properly secured from the elements, the property has been subject to wind and corrosion and salt and all the elements that a typical building that would be sheltered from these types of elements, it has not been sheltered. So there's deferred maintenance, there's mold, there's all these environmental issues that need to be remediated. I've heard it said from people that I've talked to that property is going to be impossible to remediate. And I have a hard time believing that, because this property cost $1 billion. There's already been $1 billion with a B put into this property to get it to the state that it is now. They just recently the city of LA paid $4 million just to secure it with fencing to prevent people from jumping off of it and from graffitiing it, which I don't think there's any other room to graffiti. I think all four sides have been graffitied. And this is a property that's, because of its size and its sheer magnitude, this property is being displayed all over the world. And now what kind of a image is that presenting
for the city of
LA? The city of LA? And the politicians have really no answer for the the problem, the property's in bankruptcy right now. The vendors, the contractors, the subcontractors want to be paid. They're owed something in the neighborhood of $1.5 billion just to get them back from where their arrearages are. So in other words, if a buyer was to come along, it would have to be a deep pocket buyer. They would have to deal with the contractors who are suing the previous owner, who is in bankruptcy right now. He has properties in San Francisco. He has one here. It's a Chinese foreign owner. It was financed through the EB-5, I believe, program, whereby a foreign investor from whatever country will offer to make an investment in a property in the United States in exchange for a visa, and if he pledges to employ, I think 10 employees on site. I think that's what the qualifications are for a foreign investor to receive funds from the EB-5 program. It's a national program, federal program, and it's very successful in some regards. However, according to my understanding, and I've talked to several people downtown who know more about this than I do, because I'm not necessarily an expert on downtown Los Angeles. I want to cut off right there because I don't want to lose my train of thought. But the people that I've talked to, they say that something needs to be done soon rather than later, because the property's sitting dormant. It's been vacant. It's not serving any good purpose, and at the same time, you got thousands of homeless in that same environment that can't find a place to live, and you've got a dormant $1 billion plus property that's sitting dormant. Something's wrong with our priorities, our balance. There's something inharmonious about that product, the property itself, because you have it sitting there dormant, wasted. All this money's been put into it, and yet you have people scrounging around that can't find a place to live at night.
Yeah, it does make you question certain priorities. But Ben, hold that thought, and we will have to take a break. And when we come back, we can continue our conversation about this, and we'll talk more about that.
The worst thing a homeowner can be without a good set of tools. Don't find yourself caught without the right tools. The Real Men of Real Estate's Ultimate Utility Bag ensures you're equipped for any DIY task. With high-quality essentials like a hammer, measuring tape, multi-tool, and Exactac picture hanging tool housed in a sturdy bag, you'll be ready for anything. It's not a good feeling when you have to stop right in the middle of a project because you didn't have that tool that you should have had in the first place. Introducing the Real Men of Real Estate's Ultimate Utility Bag from Caliber 8. This ultimate all-around-the-house tool bag includes essentials like a non-slip grip 16-ounce claw hammer with a nail starter, which is perfect for keeping your fingers safe from getting smashed, a durable 16-foot measuring tape, which is a must in any toolkit, the Caliber 8 Multimax Pocket Tool, which features a 6-inch locking style adjustable pocket wrench, 5-position wrench, 2 Phillips, and 1 flathead screwdriver, a durable stainless steel pocket knife, can and bottle opener, saw blade, an LED flashlight so you don't have to get caught in the dark. A compact toolkit small enough to fit in your glove compartment or your kitchen drawer, with a utility knife, 2 Phillips and flathead precision screwdrivers, a mini socket set, a box of wood and machine screws, needle nose pliers, wire cutters, and a driver set with flathead Phillips and Torx style bits, and the Exactac picture hanging tool, which makes picture hanging easy with no measuring required or stray holes to deal with. With everything you need conveniently packed in one sturdy bag, you'll be ready for any DIY task. Call area code 619-453-4664 or visit realmenofrealestate.com. The first 10 shoppers get a 10% discount with promo code TOOLS. That's TOOLS.
Welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate. I'm your host, Dylan Bruno, and I'm with my guest, Ben Eubanks. And in our last segment, we were talking about the Oceanwide debacle, if you want to call it that, and what's to come of that. So, Ben, tell me, what do you think is going to come of this in your experience as being a commercial real estate agent?
If I had my wizard's ball in front of me, I would say I don't know. There's so many things in the air. There's so much litigation. This litigation could last literally years from now, just to reconcile the contractors that are already owed, the competing. They say there's a lot of hair on this. In other words, there's a lot of competing interests, moneyed interests that have already spent enormous amounts of money on this project, and they're not going to just walk away from that. So whatever buyer comes along, they're going to have to be a deep-pocketed buyer, more likely a hedge fund, something like that. A private party individual has a very small chance of pulling off something like this. It's going to be for even someone like Rick Caruso, who's big in Los Angeles real estate, the big developer. He doesn't want to, he hasn't expressed any interest in this. And that guy is as knowledgeable in high-end developments as anybody I know in the city. And he's right in that area, and he hasn't expressed an interest. So that tells you something right there.
Yeah, so do you think it'll probably sell at a discount, like an inordinate discount?
That's what I was thinking, and the potential client that I advised not maybe 2 weeks ago, he was of the opinion that he could come in there and get this thing at a discount, and I'm not sure about that because the nature, the magnitude, the scope of this property, it's not a discount-friendly type transaction in my mind. There's too much money that has been spent on this property already. People are not going to just walk away from that. So yeah, anything could happen. Anything is possible, but for most people, this property something has to happen, obviously. I cannot see this property being demolished. I cannot see the property, it's no one being interested to the point where they demolish this property. If you've seen it on the news or in the publications and the media, it's a huge, huge property. It's commensurate with the level that you would expect in downtown Los Angeles. That's the magnitude, and that's how these properties look from afar.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I gotta tell you, those guys who get up there and do graffiti, I mean, there's, man, with no harness or anything like that. I'm not trying to advocate being a graffiti artist, but you gotta kind of give some respect for doing that. Okay, let's talk about when it comes to the industry. What are the interest rate trends? Where do you think they're going, based on where they've been, how high they've gotten, where they are now? Because I know the average Joe is wondering, okay, when are rates going to go down? Are they going to go lower? You know, that's all over the place. What's your take on that?
You've got a federal deficit of something in the neighborhood of $40 billion, $1 trillion. Don't quote me on that. But as long as that deficit remains high, the rates are going to tend to slow down the increase in that deficit. What does that mean? In different parts of the economy, in different parts of the real estate, in different segments, those interest rates are going to fluctuate. Right now, you're talking about 6.9, 30-year fixed in that neighborhood. Commercial rates are different. The underwriting is different. The circumstances are different. But I've heard, and I'm not an economist. I have to preface my remarks by saying that I'm not an economist, but the real estate industry is very dependent on the interest rate structure, whatever it is. When interest rates go down, the market is happy. More people are able to purchase properties. When it goes up, everything comes to a standstill, and it's very cyclical. That having been said, I've been told that no matter who takes over, whatever administration takes over after the election, this is an election year, there's going to be a depression. A recession, not a depression. No, I didn't say that. You didn't hear me say that. I said recession. There's a possibility, a strong likelihood of whoever takes office in November, there's going to be a recession. So I don't know, because I don't have a crystal ball in front of me. If I did, I'd be in Vegas somewhere betting the horses, and I'm not a betting man. So I just kind of try to react and try to live within my means. And I would advise anyone to buying a house. I always think it's going to cost more than the price. I always think the upkeep is going to be more, the property taxes are going to be more, the maintenance is going to be more. Whatever you think it's going to cost, add at least 10% to that, and then you're comfortable now. Most people, that even people of means, are not interested in buying houses right now because they're so expensive. Most people are not really interested in selling, because if you sell in California, sell in Los Angeles, and you want to live in Los Angeles, what are you going to do? Sell one overpriced house to buy another overpriced house? Or if you're going to live out of state, that might be a possibility. The last two clients I had were both, they left the state of California. They want to move to Nevada, want to move to Georgia, lower priced homes, lower priced housing, lower cost of living. So they don't want to stay here. And before I forget, I want to really tell the listeners, the state of California does not want to see young people leave the state of California. They want to make this environment somehow friendly for young families, 20s, 30s, even 40-year-olds, to stay here, not leave. Don't leave. And in the pursuit of having a program where people could stay, they have a program called the California Dream for All. California Dream for All. It's called a shared appreciation loan program. It's offered by the California Housing Finance Agency. Last year, this same program ran out of money 11 days after they announced it because the market, the demand was so great. This program of $300 million ran out in 11 days last year. This year, they're starting off with $250 million in funds available. They expect between 1,200 and 1,600 new applicants. It's for people who have never owned a house. Not only have they never owned a house, but their family members can never have owned a house. So it's truly generational. It's targeted towards people who have been, for one reason or another, unable to buy a house over the generations, and this program is designed to address that target audience. And there are certain requirements. You have to be a California resident. You need to make 120% of the area's median income. And this program will offer up to 20% of the down payment or up to $150,000. So if you're talking about a $750,000 property, this program will pay that down payment. You don't have to pay a down payment at all. And you walk into the property, no down payment, period. What you do after you sell the property, whatever appreciation has been earned, you will share that back with the California Housing Finance Agency. They will take a percentage, you will take a percentage. If it's something that you are interested in, you can contact me, you can contact the California HFA, Housing Finance Agency. They will give you the information. It's something that would be ideal for a first-time buyer, a young family who's never owned a property, their parents have never owned a property. This is designed for those kind of people.
California Dream for All program, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's amazing that they have that going on, guys. So there is hope. There is hope for you.
And it starts on April 3rd. The applications start on April 3rd. So right now it's March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. I don't have my green on.
Is there a deadline?
I just know that as soon as April 3rd comes around, you need to get your papers in. You need to get your paperwork in. Don't wait, because if you waited 11 days, how long is 11 days? Not long. But $300 million was depleted in 11 days last year. This program is so needed, so necessary, and so in demand that, yeah, on April 3rd, you'd have my application in. If I was a buyer looking to buy, my application would be in on April 3rd.
There you go. So, Ben, tell us a little bit about why you got into the niche area of commercial real estate versus other areas of real estate. Were you ever a residential agent or broker at all, or tell us more about your background on how you got into the industry?
Well, most practitioners, most real estate licensees they start off as residential. I would say most, especially females for some reason. More females are in residential, even though that's changing now. There's some high hitters, heavy hitters that are female in the commercial space. Don't get me wrong. But in general, I think over the years, traditionally, the residential space has been dominated by females and the commercial space is dominated by males. Now, maybe that's because in elementary school or in junior high school, the math classes were dominated by males, and maybe the females felt intimidated, or they weren't able to fully express themselves for one reason or another. And these are general statements I'm saying, by the way. Don't hold me to these things. These are general statements. Women tend to be more into the residential space because residential real estate involves sentiment, involves emotions, involves feelings. My kids grew up in this house. We were married in this house. My kid's baptism was in this house. My kid's first birthday was in this house. So there's a lot of emotional attachments. Commercial real estate, on the other hand, is strictly the numbers. It either pencils out or it doesn't. It either adds up or it doesn't. It's very cut and dried. And it's, like I say, so it's the mathematical part of it that it's just a discounted cash flow. It's cash analysis, income statements, all these kind of things that traditionally have not been as widely available to females. But that's changing, so in a good way.
Yeah, that is a good thing that it's not as closed off as it used to be, like other things in life. And more people who are, I guess, marginalized in those industries are getting a piece of the pie. So, we can always be grateful for that. So, like I was asking you before, Ben, the commercial side is your forte, right? You would rather, you're a numbers guy, right? So that's where you would rather be. You feel more comfortable there.
Depending on the deal. I had an opportunity way back in the Resolution Trust Corporation days in the 80s when the government was closing down all these savings and loans and they were taking back the properties. I had an opportunity to do a $24 million commercial property in Encino as an appraiser, not as a broker, as an appraiser. And so that was my introduction to commercial real estate, and I found that if it's lucrative, I'll do it. And it doesn't really matter whether it's residential or commercial to me, because residential market in Southern California is such that you can do a residential transaction and make every penny that you would make in commercial. So it's not the case that commercial is so lucrative and residential is not. That's a misconception. The high-end residential market in Southern California, the Palisades, the Brentwoods, Bel Airs, the Hollywood Hills, those kind of properties, every bit as lucrative as a commercial property of a skyscraper, a hospital, a football stadium. They're both high-end, high-ticket transactions. So I'll get back to my introduction when we come back, because I know we're getting ready to take a break in a moment.
Yeah. All right, guys.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Okay, guy. All right, guys, we're back with Ben Eubanks, commercial real estate agent extraordinaire. Ben, I'll pay you for saying that later. No, seriously, Ben.
I'm supposed to be paying you.
Ben is the man. Ben is the man. But I want to dive a little deeper, or I should say, maybe we, as listeners, want to dive a little deeper into Ben's experience and his evolution through the real estate industry. And I was curious. I was talking to Ben earlier, off mic, about the different real estate associations he's been involved with, and I was very impressed. And it wasn't a smooth road, because you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with structures that have been in place for a pretty long time, and I wanted Ben to touch on that. His experience dealing with the different real estate associations, and he's involved with one that he calls home now. That's the Inglewood Board of Realtors. Okay, and I myself am associated with the Inglewood Board of Real Estate. And Ben, tell us how you came to settle at the Inglewood Board of Real Estate and your evolution through that process. And I found it pretty interesting. So take it away, Ben.
So I want to plug Monique McCord. She's the CEO. She's the association executive of the Inglewood Board of Realtors. She's been there for about 5 years now. Top-notch person. She's the one who brought me together with Dylan. That's why I'm here, because of her connection. And I've known Monique since we were both at a previous association I won't name, but we were both there and I was a member of that association for years and years, almost probably 17 to 18 years. And because of one reason or another, I felt that I needed to go somewhere else. I went to another association of realtors that I won't mention either, for basically the same reason. I don't want to promote them necessarily, because I have my reasons. And then I went to another one, and that was for a year. So throughout that association, my connection with these associations, being an independent broker, which is what I am, I'm not a member of one of the bigger branded brokerages, the Century 21s, the RE/MAX, the Coldwell Bankers. I'm not a member of one of those, and they have the name recognition that I don't have. No one has heard of Ben Eubanks, but everyone has heard of Century 21. So being an independent practitioner, independent and a small practitioner as I am, it was necessary for me to avail myself of the programming, the instructions, the educational offerings that the Association of Realtors offers. They have classes, they have insurance, they have benefits that they offer. So as an independent, I needed to belong to an organization like that to help me to learn what I needed to learn, to be credible, to be have the state-of-the-art information at my fingertips so that I can be competitive as an independent contractor, realtor. I don't consider myself any less of a realtor, any less qualified than any realtor from any branded brokerage. I feel like I can do the same exact thing that they do. My license says the same thing that theirs says. So you won't be taking a chance when you deal with an independent broker necessarily. So that's why I belong to all these associations. I've never been a salesperson. When I first got my license in 2005, I took the license test for the broker. And nowadays, you can't even do that. You have to have 2 years prior experience working under some other broker prior to your ability to qualify to take the broker's test, to get the broker's license. So I've always been a broker. That's not the case anymore. You can't even do it that way anymore. I guess they feel that the brokers need more experience, and I have my own beliefs as to why they have attached that 2-year requirement. I have my own beliefs on that, but I was always an independent. So it's more comfortable for me I'd rather work to make 10 cents a day for myself. I'd rather work 18 hours a day for myself than work for someone else. That works for me. It might not work for the next person, but it works for me. And so I got into the business because of a family friend. I was transitioning from a career in education, secondary education. I have a lifetime State of California lifetime teaching credential for secondary education. So that was my first adult job out of college, USC. I graduated in 1978. So my first job was in education, but I was at the point where I was running out of money at the end of the summer because back in the day, the summer session was 3 months long. It wasn't year round. The schools were not a year round. Summer was June, July, August, and I loved having 3 months off. It was great, but I didn't get paid, so I used to always run out of money, didn't manage my money well enough. Not that I was living extravagantly, because I wasn't, but I couldn't manage my money enough. So after 7 years of teaching, I said, I need to go into something else. And I just happened to have a family friend who was an appraiser, an FDIC HUD appraiser. And I asked him. I said, Mr. Adolph, can I go out with you during the day? Can I just tag along with you? And he said, yeah, sure, come on. So every day, when I used to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd go to his house and we'd go ride out, and I'd learn from him. He was, like I said, an FHA appraiser, HUD appraiser. It was a different style of appraising that I eventually became, but I became an independent fee appraiser, which means I got paid by the job. I wasn't a staff appraiser. I didn't work for a savings and loan. I didn't work for a bank. I was independent. I was paid by the job. So independent fee appraiser, it gave me a lot of flexibility. It was lucrative for a while. It's very cyclical. Once the interest rates go up, you're going to be you're left high and dry, and then you're going to have to manage your money, live within your means, which is what we talked about on the way here.
Yes.
Live within your means. And you can find a way. So I moved over into residential real estate, but like I said, when I was working for the FDIC, they asked me, could I do a commercial real estate appraisal? And I said, let me see what that requires. What do I need to prepare myself? What kind of professional research do I need to do so that I know what I'm doing? So I talked to people. I had help. And they walked me through this, and I did it. So, and I moved on. But see, nowadays you have a situation where people start as residential agents, and it doesn't quite work out the way they want it to, as fast as they want it to. So they say, well, let me look over at the commercial space. Let me see if I can transition into the commercial space. And they try that, and maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. And you have another situation where, on the other hand, you have commercial practitioners who start off in commercial space, and then they say the same thing. Oh, this is not going the way I want it to go. It not meeting my expectations. Let me try the residential space. So there are transitions on both ends, but you do have the elite commercial practitioners who only do commercial. That's all they do. Or they specialize in one niche of commercial real estate. They only do office. They only do retail. They only do apartment buildings. They only do hospitality. Because there's 5 or 6 different segments of commercial real estate. It's not just one area. Just like in residential, there's high-end residential, and then there's the more flat level level real estate practitioners.
So Ben,
yes, sir.
You mentioned, right in line with what you're saying right now, you mentioned that your niche is not just commercial real estate, but a certain segment of commercial real estate, which is office spaces, and that's what you concentrate on. Am I correct?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I just gave that as an example.
Okay.
Real estate is based on relationships. So when people call me, and a lot of times when I tell people I'm a real estate agent, they said, oh, where do you work? What area do you specialize in? What type of properties? And I said, I don't specialize in an area. I don't specialize in the type of property. What I do specialize in is relationships. Because people that have known me over the years, people that have known me since I was in the 3rd grade, literally, I still communicate with those people. I'm a very sentimental person. I value old relationships. I value old friendships. My elementary school days, my junior high school days were very traumatic in some ways, very dysfunctional in some ways. But I do value the people that I've known since those days that are still around. They survived whatever challenges we had to survive coming up. I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to public schools, all public schools. And it was one thing after another coming up. It was always something. So going back to what I said, when people call me and they say, Ben, can you do this real estate assignment? Can you do that? I'll listen to them, but what I'm really listening to is, do I know you? Are you someone who is a friend of me? You know me. We grew up together. We have the same background. We have the same socioeconomic foundation. We shared public school experience. We went to the Dorsey High Schools. We went to the LA High Schools. We went to the Hamilton High Schools. We went to Cienega Elementary School. We went to Mount Vernon Junior High School, which is now Johnny Cochran Junior High School. We went to Palms Middle School. We went to USC. We went to UCLA. So these people know me. I don't have to prove myself to them. I don't have to prove the kind of person that I am, which is what normally you have to do. You have to say, well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the Fortune 500, I'm the top 5 producer, and all these kind of qualifications. Well, those are valuable qualifiers. But I don't necessarily rely on that. I rely on, do I know this person, and does he know me? Does he or she know me? That's why they call me. They don't call me because I specialize in Marina Del Rey, which is where I live. They don't call me because I specialize in a certain type of property. They call me because they know me, and they know my character.
Yeah. So what would you suggest to an up-and-coming agent or broker on how to build those connections, those relationships, if they don't have any? Say they just came to town and they don't know anyone. I mean, in your case, it definitely helped because you grew up here, you established those relationships early on, long before you became an agent or a broker, and I could see how that definitely helped in your process. But for someone who's just starting out in today's world, right, what would you suggest? I know they have the social media platforms, this or that and the other. Would you suggest they go out and mix and mingle at different events? Because sometimes it takes years to form those relationships, right?
Absolutely.
And so I can see how you got a leg up there. So what would you tell? Say I walked into your office and say, hey Ben, I want to get into commercial real estate. I mean, it'll be great if you can give me some warm leads, right? But let's just say I don't have any warm leads. What would you tell a person?
The question that you just asked is the $1 million question, because I'm a mentor at the USC Dornsife Mentorship Program. I'm a mentor. I've been mentoring for about 4 years now. So every semester, there's a student, a USC student, and he might have a similar background as mine. He might be interested in real estate or business or something along those lines. And we mentor. I mentor someone like that. Every year, I tell my mentees the same thing. I'm going to answer the question that you just asked. Depending on your personality, depending on who you are as an individual, if you're comfortable with getting out and backslapping and handshaking and wearing out your shoe leather by going to meetings, do that. Do that. Establish those relationships. Let people know who you are, what type of person you are, what your interests are. Let them know your background. Because remember, there's 202,000 plus agents in the state of California. A person that's a brand new graduate of USC, brand new graduate of any university, they're very idealistic. They have the world in front of them. The world is their oyster. But when you get out there in that real world, you're going to have to know somebody. So like I said, I learned the business through a family friend. And if you don't have a family friend who's in real estate, then what do? Join an association. Inglewood Board of Realtors, Board of Realtors is a good start, a good place. It has a great potential for the future. Inglewood with Sophie Stadium, all the new development going along Century Boulevard, Prairie, Intuit is coming there. I think Google is coming there. All of these new commercial businesses and opportunities. So Inglewood Board of Realtors is a good place to start. It's not one of the largest, but you're going to get individual attention. People will pay attention to you. They'll give you the time of day. You're not going to be one of 1,000 members. That's a good start. And the people are good people. I found a home. I've been a member of at least 4 associations. This is my home now, an Inglewood Board of Realtors. We're having our installation on March 28th.
It's 28th, yeah.
March 28th, Proud Bird Restaurant. All the new offices will be installed. We have a commercial marketing session on April 4th at our location, 722 East Manchester, ground floor at our office. So we think that there's good things coming. And so my long answer to your question is to consider all possibilities. But if you're a young person, go in with your eyes open. Go in with your eyes open. Realize that in the real estate industry, there's something called a disruptor. The disruptors are the Zillows and the Redfins and the Compasses, the online platforms that are competing with the typical real estate agent who gives value for their service. There's a reason why the commission is what it is. There's a reason, there's a ton of paperwork on any standard real estate transaction, and I'm talking about a regular, typical transaction, let alone one that has some issue of probate or a foreclosure. You've got long-term tenants in there. You have to pay a relocation fee to deal with people who have been tenants for a long time. So there's a ton of things that the average person, if you try to do a real estate transaction by yourself, it'll be the same thing as going and trying to pull your own tooth, or trying to do a root canal on yourself, or trying to represent yourself in court. So if you want to do that and you feel like you're confident and you have a certain something that everybody else doesn't have, go for it. But there's a reason why people pay what they pay the real estate commission for good representation, and I mean good representation.
All right, guys, you heard it. You heard it from the master himself, Ben Eubanks. Guys, we're going to take a break right now, and we will be right back. This is some pretty good stuff, guys, so I hope you're taking notes. See you right after this, guys.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
Okay, I'm your host, Dylan Bruno, with the Real Men of Real Estate, and we have with us Ben Eubanks, distinguished commercial realtor. And so, Ben, in the last segment, we touched on some pretty interesting topics there. But one of the topics I really want to drive home, especially for the new realtor or someone wanting to get into the game, is a principle that applies all across the board when it comes to business, when it comes to life in general, and that's money management. I know real estate could be a feast or famine game, and if you're not disciplined with your money, and if you're making the money, you can find yourself in some pretty dire circumstances. So it's not about the amount of deals that's on your table, who says yes to you, how many contracts you sign, transactions you close. None of that matters if you have no money management skills. So talk to us about how you had to get that under control yourself as a new realtor or broker, and why is it so important to understand these principles as a new person coming into the business?
I think you hit it right on the head, Dylan. A young person who has a good foundation that their parents or their community that have instilled in them to live within your means. And I learned that when I was probably in my 20s. My attorney, great gentleman, John Sweeney, the Sweeney firm, he told me that. Live within your means, Ben. And at the time, I wasn't really, I didn't really pay as much attention to it at the time because I was a young man. And so I thought the world was my oyster, and I had everything in ahead of me, and I was going to, knock the world on its behind, and I was going to do this and do that. Reality sets in, and then I said, oh, this is what he's talking about. When you run out of money and you have to, I've heard of one of my friends, another gentleman, Robert Layton, over at another association I was affiliated with, he said he had to get used to eating macaroni and cheese nightly. Not macaroni and cheese that you go out and buy, the package that comes in a box. And so he ate macaroni and cheese regularly until he could, get himself squared away. And I know myself, I did a lot of side hustle jobs. I was a detailer of cars. I've always been interested in cars. I detailed cars. I used to work on cars in the afternoon. I used to go out with my my mentor, who taught me the real estate appraisal business. And I was always busy. I was always keeping my feet moving. I did some other things. I'm a chess player. I'm a rated U.S. Chess Federation rated chess player. I teach chess. So I'm always keeping busy. So if I'm not doing real estate, which is a lot of times I'm not, I'm doing something else. So as long as you keep busy, as long as you enjoy life, and as long as what you asked me this morning, you said, Ben, how are you doing? I just met you. I just met this man this morning. He said, how are you doing? What was my answer, Dylan? I said, today is the best day of my life.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And that's exactly what I said, and that's exactly what I believe. Because I have my health, I have love in my life, I have a gift. I'm a servant, and I enjoy every ounce of my life, every second of it. My birthday party that I had last year, I had some old friends and new friends and friends from the old days, and we all got together. Today is my birthday because I'm plugging people left and right. My friends that I can't have a birthday this year because I'm going to be doing something else. So the people that came to my birthday party last year, I'm saying hi to you guys right now. Marvin, Randy Harris, and Elijah, and Annette Harrigan, and who else? Donald Wilson, my preacher, John Sweeney, Cedric Hobson, all these people that know me from the old days. So whether I make $1 million or whether I make a penny, these people are my friends, and they know me, and I value their friendship more than anything else. Whether I make $1 million in real estate or whether I don't, I'm happy because I have love in my life, and I'm a giving person, and it wasn't always that way. Believe me, it wasn't always that way.
Like Ben just stated, when I met, this is my first time meeting Ben today, and I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, I did ask him, hey, how are you doing, Ben? And the first words out of his mouth was the best day of my life. And I actually thought about that, because imagine, you're in a situation right now where you're thinking it's the worst day of your life or the worst time in your life, and you can consciously turn that around in your head and say, hey, this is the best day of my life. Well, with a mentality like that, you can't lose, right? Imagine, nothing can beat you with that mentality. No matter what's coming at you, no matter what's happened, if you can claim, hey, this is the best day of my life when everything's going to you know what in the handbasket, you've won. You've won the game right there. Okay, so Ben, I just want to touch a little bit. You mentioned mentorship, and no, before we touch on I want to close on the mentorship angle, but I just want to ask you this. When I look at, listen to real estate agents talk, maybe online or something like that, and they compare it to different, the different income streams out there. To you, why is real estate, or I don't even know what you think about it, but versus, say, the stock market or, say, crypto, which is, kind of big right now, or even a business, another kind of business, I should say. Real estate is a business, but why did real estate appeal to you so much over those other options? Not that you don't participate in them, but obviously this is your bread and butter here. Why is it so appealing to you? What about real estate appeals to you over, say, the stock market or something like trading?
I have to say that it was the allure of a lucrative career. That's what interests me in the first place. And like I said, it was a family friend. He was there. Like most people, I was of the belief that anything in real estate that you do, you could be a title, you work for a title company, you can do title insurance, you can be an escrow officer, you can be a lender, you could be an appraiser, a property inspector. There's a lot of different avenues in real estate. So as an appraiser, the numbers are important, and I consider myself to be a well-balanced intellectual person. Intellectually, I'm balanced between my ability to think analytically and my ability to think creatively. So if it wouldn't have been for Mr. Adolph teaching me and letting me go out with him every day in the morning, I didn't get paid, didn't get paid a dime, but I didn't need to get paid because I was getting the knowledge, I was getting the information, I was learning things. So Mr. Adolph, we went out every day, and slowly but surely I learned it. Slowly but surely I became more comfortable talking about numbers. I became more comfortable with people that I didn't know, people of different races, of different nationalities, that I didn't grow up in a particularly racial neighborhood growing up. You know, my neighborhood was diverse, but it wasn't all that diverse. So in real estate, you're going to run across all different kind of peoples, all different income levels, nationalities, language proficiencies, cultures. The type of property is going to be interesting. So from that aspect, yeah, it's interesting. It's just interesting. If you go into a market and you start talking about real estate, people are going to start leaning over and trying to see, well, what's he saying about real estate? Especially if you own a piece of property, then you're really listening about what's going on with property trends, appreciation levels, the interest rates, and so forth and so on. So I'm a person who loves to talk, and real estate involves a lot of talking. You got to put yourself out there. You got to say something. So I don't have a problem. I'm not a shy person. So in terms of stock market or any of these other lucrative fields, yeah, they're lucrative. Currency, cryptocurrency, A1, all these computer things for younger generation. Yeah, for younger person, go for it. Those things are something that I would explore if I was young, but I'm on the other side of 65 years old right now, so I'm kind of looking for a comfortable place to land my plane. And I'm not, as energetic as I used to be. I don't need to be as energetic as I used to be.
You don't look a day older than 30, man. Come on.
Come on, man. Come on. I told you I was going to pay you, man. I told you. So anyway, you're very kind, my friend. But so yeah, it's a lucrative field. It's not as lucrative as you would believe by watching some of these TV shows. There's going to be dry periods, there's going to be lean periods, and you're going to be macaroni and cheese nights where, hey, we're not going out tonight. We got to eat macaroni and cheese. You have to fix some macaroni and cheese from a box, and it's okay because, like I said, I'd rather survive off of 10 cents a day than work for somebody else and do something dishonest. I'm a very forthright person. Like I said, I haven't always been. Real estate has made me a better person. This struggle, this challenge has made me a better person. I'm better for it now. And I think you can hear from the passion and the enthusiasm in my voice. I like what I do. I like my life.
Ben just summed it up right there. I mean, he loves what he does. Not only that, Ben just stated to us non-monetary reasons why real estate can make you wealthy. Not necessarily in a monetary sense, but in a character-building sense. He was exposed, as he said, to, various cultures and stuff he probably wouldn't have been exposed to if he wasn't in real estate. I mean, I don't know what could have happened, but definitely real estate did that for him. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts we can get that doesn't, that we can't deposit in the bank is being able to relate to all kinds of people and help them out, serve them, even people that may not necessarily like us, right? But we have the, we developed the discipline of service to put a roof over someone's head and make their life more fulfilling as well. So that's what I'm getting out of what Ben is telling us, and I'm sure some of the listeners, you guys out there, could understand in whatever field that you're in. You may get the same reward as well. It's not a monetary reward, but it's an inner deposit, I should say, right, in the bank of the self. That's what I'm getting from Ben. It's not just about numbers, because anybody can be on the stock market, in a cubicle on the trading floor, right? But let's just say you're out there and you see someone that needs help. That's in the lowest of the low, a homeless person or, something like that, and you're able to reach out to them and help them out. That's what I call wealth. That's what I call true wealth. Okay, that's what I call legacy, right? And so yeah, Ben, mentorship is another thing I got from you, Ben. The importance of mentorship. You were lucky to have that, working for you. You had a good mentor. And it kind of reminds me of some of these motivational speakers who say, yeah, I had a mentor, or the the Kiyosaki guy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad kind of thing. When you were talking about that, it kind of reminded me of the Rich Dad. He took you up under the wing and he showed you the ropes. So, yeah, Ben. So, any final words on why you love what you do?
Well, before I forget, before I sign off, I just want to thank my mom because she was there for me when I was transitioning from my education career to my real estate career. And when those months came when I couldn't take care of my bills, my mom was there. And
Go ahead.
I could have easily been one of these people that were living under the bridge. Easily. Okay. 3 or 4 times in my life, I could have found myself in a situation like that. So now that I'm putting people in houses, I still have that concern, that interest in people who are struggling, who are not achieving the American dream in any way. I still have that concern for them because my mom helped me when I couldn't help myself. And that's why I'm here now.
Oh, well, Ben, that's beautiful, and it was great. It was great having you on the show. I'm sure we learned so much from you. And guys, I hope you got something from this. We love you out there. Stay tuned. The Real Man of Real Estate.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Former President Trump is defending his comments that he would not defend